Hello, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John. Today we're talking about Ridley Scott's The Martian, starring Matt Damon, of course. Everybody's favorite space person at this point.
Everybody's favorite person to fucking rescue.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Aside from him, we also have Jessica Chastain, Sebastian Stan, Michael Pena. Who else? Jeff Daniels, Sean Bean, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Kristen Wiig. Am I missing? Mackenzie Davis, Benedict Wong, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. I think that's about it. To be honest,
it's a pretty star-studded cast.
Yeah, it's the most star-studded cast among this lineup. Of like, damn, this is a pretty good star-studded cast. Not saying the others were not as good, but like this is like what 10 people at this point. Of like, I know that person.
Yeah, like when we mean by star-studded cast, like that person should be the main character.
Yeah.
That person should be the main character. Like, kind of deal.
And yeah. Did you see any trailers? What were your first impressions of the movie?
When did this come out? 2016?
15.
15. I was like 16 around that time. Yeah, I did watch a couple of trailers because I remember we had this talk because we were like, oh, there's this new fucking Ridley Scott movie, and we like Alien,
yeah,
and we like Ridley Scott, so we're like, okay. And watching, I was like, dude, trying to survive and get out of Mars. Not really a big, like, ooh, but I did watch it in Rockwell.
Oh,
and my God.
Fancy.
Yes. So good. So good.
Yeah. I watched this in SM Satmo before they had their cinemas revamped. So I was like, alright, we got what we paid for. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the trailers too and I was like, he's in space again. Interesting.
I feel like I just saw this last year.
Yeah, even Matt Damon told Ridley Scott, it's like, I'm in a Christopher Nolan movie where I'm in space too, and Ridley Scott's like, no one gives a fuck. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, just get in.
Yeah. I do like the premise of like, this is the future where space travel and space agencies like NASA are publicly funded. And you're like, it's an ideal future. Apparently, that I don't think we'll ever get to sometime soon.
Hopefully. I don't know, it would be nice to just commercialize NASA. I'm like, hey, look at that. Anyone can go to space.
Yeah. Instead of having, privatized billionaires travel to space, I'm like, oh, I guess it's only we're heading towards the future of Gundam. Anyway.
I don't know which side I will be on, to be honest.
Oh, God. But yeah, you see Commander Lewis and the crew exploring Mars, and they're trying to collect samples, but a storm comes along and they have to jettison out of Mars. Because they're like, alright, we have to abandon the space. This mission's over. And they do that successfully, aside from the point that, oh, Mark Watney just dead as got hit by the satellite. Mm-hmm. Is he alive? I don't know.
We don't know, but sadly, if they don't leave now, they're not going to make it back home.
Yeah. Well, they had to tell NASA. NASA has to break the news to the public that, hey, we lost one of our own back in Mars. Mark Watney is dead. And you see poor Mark Watney just wake up and be like, oh, I am all alone, and I have a thing sticking out of me. This is pretty bad.
This is the most intense scene. This is not even like a gory movie.
Yeah.
Or action-packed. This is a slow... I can't say slow burn, because it was entertaining the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
But it feels like... on paper, it feels like a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we start off with him just trying to, like, staple his wound together. He gets back to, like, this little, habitat that they had while they stayed in Mars before leaving. He just seems stapled as shit, and he's like... It was hard to watch.
I was seated between a mom and an aunt who were both doctors. And they were, like, screaming, like, whispering loudly at Mark Watney what to do. And they whispered about, like, he can't hear you. I can. Isn't intense when he pulls out the thing and he's still bleeding and he has to staple it and he has to figure like, oh, there's still a piece in me. I have to do it myself and just remove it. And you're just like,
yeah.
I don't think I have the balls to do that. I think I'm like, you know what? Bleeding out doesn't seem like a bad fit.
Yeah. No, you know what? No. Then we wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah, you like it.
But think of it this way. you think Castaway's bad?
Castaways on Earth.
This is a monumental like situation that Mark Watney has to go through. I love I love the way of thinking all throughout this movie.
Yeah.
When it came to Mark Watney himself, Mark Watney is a very witty, happy-go-lucky, somewhat kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not really the type to be pessimistic for a long period of time. Sure, he'll have like a meltdown, but after that, he has to move forward. That this is like the thing that made this movie stand out to me compared to other space movies or Castaway movies, where he is pretty like the entire movie. He is figuring out plan A to plan Z.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just for one situation.
Yeah, because it takes more than 4 years to get back to someone on Mars, if they even know he's alive. So he has to plan like, oh, I have to grow potatoes, I have to use our own naturalized fertilizer, which is our own shit, to plant those potatoes, and hopefully they will grow. Which, by the way, Mars doesn't grow anything, so how the fuck do we do that? Oh, the fertilizer will do that. How do I control the oxygen in the air? I'll try it with this, or the water at least, to help water the potatoes. And then at first he doesn't compensate that, oh, I am breathing oxygen out. And that's why he explodes, and you're like, is the movie over? Jesus.
Or he just goes, whoops! Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, he forgot. He forgot basic science.
Yeah.
When he's an astronaut. By the way, when you would think man stuck in space, you would think a captain, a pilot. Ah, he's a botanist. Man works with plants. Which I feel like might be the best stats to have in a survival situation.
Right? Like you would think the commander would do it well, or who else would do it well, but at the same time, like, no. He knows the science. He scienced the shit out of Mars, and he's doing fine. I love how when he's carving the crucifix, he turns to Jesus like, you know what? I think you'll forgive me for this. You understand.
Seeing my situation, you'll let this one pass. You know, he just needs the Kindle.
Yeah. And then back on NASA, they look at the hub and they're like, that's weird. Shit's moving. The solar panels are like up, and like the Mars vehicle is just rolling, and they're like, that's weird. How does he? What's doing that?
And they're like, and then they're all like, wait, shit. He's still alive. Yeah, I and like when you would think a guy trying to survive on Mars by making potatoes, you would think that it's a very slow burn. Slow burn survival movie where you're just he's just making potatoes, trying to live. On downtimes, Matt Damon has very good comedy chops.
Yeah, like the first half when it's just him by yourself, like, god damn, Matt Damon's such a great actor with great serious and comedic chops. Like, I wish he got more and more movies. Not that he doesn't, but like you're like, I wish you were more, mainstream movies other than this and the Bourne films, which is fine. I love the scene when Truth Allow Force character Vincent Kapoor's like, I wonder what it's like to be alone up there. What's he thinking of? And then you see poor Mark Watney with like disco music. He's like, I am gonna die if I have to listen to any goddamn disco music. My God, Commander Lewis, could you not bring anything from this century? The music turned the beat around. He's like, no, I will not turn the beat around. It's like my personal hell of like, I'm not the biggest fan of disco music either. It's like either that or like K-pop of like, fuck, I hate my crewmates. Yeah, you would definitely leave your music there.
I was like, yeah.
I'd be like,
man, I can die peacefully on Mars if I had like
your K-pop.
Good Japanese to K-pop music.
I wouldn't be like, well, fuck. Not that there's anything wrong with K-pop and J-pop, but it's just not my thing. But
just you wait, it hits everybody. I know you're a Neon fan. You said it before.
Anyway, but yeah, NASA's now like, oh well, we have a big PR crisis, and most importantly, how the fuck do we rescue Mark? Because again, it takes 4 years just to think of something or put a crew together, and then 4 years to travel to go back to Mars.
When he only has X amount of months worth of food.
Yeah.
So they're all like, when we do get back, he's pretty much dead.
Yeah. We're gonna find his body. That's why before they discovered him alive, they were like, we can't send another mission. They're gonna see his body. That's not good for press. Why?
Yeah.
I do love the dynamic between director Sanders, Vincent Kapoor, and forgot Benedict Wong. No, Benedict Wong.
Benedict Wong.
Yeah. Where they're like, you have this amount of days to think of the fulcrum or for the food or supplies, and he's just like, fuck. But
they made science look so fun.
Yeah.
Like, you see them doing simulations of like what Mark Watney's doing. They're all doing the math and all that jazz. And you see them like re-engineering everything that he's doing just to see what's the best next step for Mark and how they communicate this to him.
When they finally find a way to like really communicate, like the students like, oh great, this an old camera with just letters, and they're just like, are you fucking serious? We're communicating with him. Stop bitching and just let us talk to him. It's like, oh right, sorry.
Like, there's the best form of communication we got.
Yeah. And then Mark, along with NASA, think of the time thing. Again, we're not scientists, so we can't read
the soul?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what one soul equates to on Earth.
Yeah.
I forgot what the math was with the movie, but anyway, yeah.
And then the part where Director Sanders like, as long as anything doesn't go wrong, we should be fine with X amount of souls, rations left, and then you see Mark enter the hab, and then it explodes. You're like, oh, fuck. What now?
Yeah. Like, what happened there? I forgot what made the habitat blow up.
They didn't really say. It must have closed improperly. That's why it's like, oh, I guess we're gonna just send you out. You're, why?
Yeah. All that's holding it together, like, as soon as, like, the situation was over, he gets back, he fixes the thing. It's held on by duct tape and, like, a sheet of plastic.
And then that's the time he breaks down. Like, he has a moment of, like, I should tell NASA. Fuck!
It's relatable.
Yeah.
It's very relatable. Like, when everything's working out for you, everything's going well, and you just fuck up once, it's all gone. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. And now NASA's like, well, shit, we have to hurry up our timetable. How's the supplies? Oh, we'll be done in like 49 days. You have 26. Okay.
Yeah. And then they do, and then that's when like Donald Glover gets reintroduced.
Yeah. Because the first time it fails, they're like, fuck. What do we do now? Also, I love, before that, they had the communication with Mark where his only shelter is the Mars vehicle. So he's communicating with that. He's freezing his ass up, but he's like, did you tell the crew about that I'm alive? And they're like, no.
No.
And then national, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, Mark, we're on national TV. Can you please not curse? He's like,
okay. You're on national TV.
And then the president's like, can you ask him not to curse? I know he's under a lot of stress, but can you lessen the language, please?
He's on Mars. I feel like it's valid now.
Yeah. He's stuck on Mars in a vehicle with like a radioactive isotope that he dug up. Of like, oh, this will keep me warm. You're like,
yeah. Alright.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
But then again, go on.
Donald Glover comes to the scene that he thinks of a solution instead of like going straight. You think of like going slingshotting around Earth back to Mars instead of just staying in one position and then hoping for supplies and then just going back here because it takes too much time.
Yeah. So his plan was, as soon as the ship of Mark Watney, the one with his crew in it, passes by Earth, they shoot the supplies towards it, thus giving them supplies as soon as they get back.
Yeah.
As for the travel back to Mars.
Yeah, and since they can't land on Mars, Mark will have to jet it out with the remaining rocket ship. so he can intercept them.
Oh no, I was talking about like just the resupply for the crew. Yeah.
But they have to tell the crew.
I do love the scene where they tell the crew he's alive.
Yeah.
And then they're like, shit, we have two options. It's either we go home after 4 years of travel, or what, 8 years? 4 years?
4 years. Or, yeah, 8 years.
8 years, because that's going back and forth.
Yeah.
8 years of travel and see our family. Or redo it all over again for one guy.
Yeah.
And they all came to a decision like, we're doing it because if it was us, Mark would have done it too.
Yeah, I do like Sean Bean's character where it's like, you know what? Fuck the rules. You have to tell the crew, and then they're like, nah, you can't. Just let them be. He's like, no, fuck y'all. And then he does tell them, they're like, you know what? We will rescue Mark. Do you like Michael Pena shitting on botany? It's like, you know what? It's not real science, it's just botany. And Commander Lewis is like, for fuck's sake, why?
No, but again, it's that playful banter when this situation, somebody would be losing their goddamn mind.
Yeah. Like Mark Watney's already losing his mind. He's like losing so much weight. He's resorting to like eating potatoes with Vicodin. You're like, that's not good.
I didn't know the powder thing that he was putting on.
Yeah, me too. Until like after the movie, I was like, Mom, what is Vicodin? She's like, oh, it's this. I was like, okay.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
You like the scene where the American space NASA joins forces with the Chinese force, and they join hands in rescuing the astronaut, and you're like, if only this is reality.
Yeah, if only.
Where the Chinese space center was like, we need to rescue that astronaut. Like, I feel like that would never work in today's political climate of like, they'd be like, yeah, that's their problem.
Yeah, that's their problem.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the countries right now is like, hey, something bad's happening. Let's band together as a society. No. Okay.
Especially when the girls like, can we share our classified rocket engine to help them feed themselves? And Mark, the guy's like, yeah, sure. Like, if only reality was...
only.
Yeah. I feel like if any country today, they'd be like, you know, that's your problem. He's gonna fucking starve. I should be fine. You're like, oh, thank you, jackass.
Yeah. But anyway, they make it back, and the only option that Mark has now is not... He can't wait.
Yeah.
Ever since the whole Habitat incident happened, now he can't wait.
Yeah.
He has to travel God knows how long to get to a space shuttle.
Yeah.
That's out in, like, middle of nowhere. It has a quarter of fuel.
Yeah, and you see how much weight Mark Watney lost. Like, Matt Damon actually like shed pounds to look like that. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I thought they did like this whole Captain America thing where they got a skinny guy and just put like just have his face on it.
Matt Damon is, you know, determined to the craft of acting. Like, he's a method actor that's, you know, not a dick.
Yeah. I like Matt Damon.
Yeah. I also felt for him when he's like telling Commander Lewis, like, hey, can you tell my parents that I was fine? Like, can you just check on them if I don't make it out of this alive? And she's like, sure.
But he's already losing his mind. Oh my god. The fact that they were like, we have to science this as well. I think the character's name was Juan as well.
I think so.
Yeah. Where they're like, hey, for this to make it, and to make it to an exact, like, speed, you have to shed a lot of weight from the space shuttle itself. So he's, like, taking up panes of glass, the nose cone,
the control panel,
extra seats, the control, because they were like, oh, we could remote control it. And we were like, wait, the thing that's covering him from getting killed is gone, and it's only held by, like, pieces of, like, plastic and wires. And I'm like,
even
how is this gonna go?
She would tell Edge first, like, is that all? No, that's not all. Like, can you please not tell me what else is going to be removed? Like, oh, sure.
Yeah, again, everything's against Mark Watney. I like that.
Yeah,
Everybody likes an underdog story, and my God, Mark Watney was an underdog.
I think it's not, he's not fighting against people. He's fighting against an alien environment. That essentially he is the title of the movie. He is the Martian on this uninhabited planet that science hasn't even figured out, like, oh, it works like this, and how to survive you do this. No, he has to figure it out all on his own. So like by the end, when he's like about to take off, my mind was like, I swear, if it blows up, if it catches on fire, I might walk out of the theater because I'd be too upset.
That's what I like about this movie too, is that, like, is he gonna make it? When you clearly could see that, like, the man went through so much, this movie wouldn't show us this much effort to just kill him off at the end. But it still had you gripping at the edge of your seat. I can't speak.
It's fine. Like, I can talk shit about that, but like, when he stops midway and he's like, oh shit, I have to make a hole in my seat, like, please don't.
Wait. And she's like, oh, it's like the cart. I'm gonna be like Iron Man.
It's like, but Iron Man has control.
But he does do it because he's losing his goddamn mind and broke a couple of ribs.
Yeah. Like him breaking down before takeoff, like, I feel you. I might start crying too.
Being this close to home.
Yeah.
And knowing the fact that you could fuck it up.
Yeah. And like, even when he's reaching for Commander Lewis, it's not a clean thing. You're like, for fuck's sake, why?
And then, like, they let, like, the tether, like, pull them in. It's very cinematic. It's very, I would say, satisfying ending. Where he's finally rescued after, I think, 5
years. Almost.
I forgot how many years, but it was like years.
Going forward. 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Being stuck on Mars.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit of light research and then we'll plaster the actual time he's been on Mars with. But yeah.
He said a satisfying ending, and like when he's back on Earth, he's like, I'm sure he's like, thank God I'm on Earth already, not stuck in some alien planet.
I feel like that's enough space for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're like, hey, space is commercial. You could go to like the moon as if you're going to Singapore or like Tokyo. I'll be like, I'm good.
In the words of Sebastian Stan, he's like, that's enough space in one lifetime. Like, I agree. Like, everybody has a happy ending. Like, Mark Watney is back on Earth, NASA's doing fine, Sebastian Stan ends up with Kate Meyer. Like, it's a pretty good ending for you.
Yeah.
The German guy is with his family, and Commander Lewis is with her husband. You're like, I'm glad everything turned out well. And
and now he is the Bear Grylls of space.
Yeah.
Mark Watney. Like, he has a whole class on, like, what to do when it fucks up.
Yeah. It's like you can either accept your fate or you can get to work and just do the math, do the science, and just hold on until you're rescued. And you're like, you forgot to mention you need to have balls of steel to be like, everything's gonna be fine. It's that dog meme of like, everything's fine. Well, everything's fine.
It's pretty much, but like, it's the dog meme, but the whole planet's on fire.
Yeah. It's like,
and it's trying to kill you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, that's also one thing I really liked, is that Mars became a character.
Yeah.
It was the antagonist the whole fucking movie. It wasn't just situation after situation.
Yeah.
Nature became a character of its own, going against Mark Watt.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a satisfying ending, and by the end, like, at one point, my mom and sister just dragged my shirt. They're like, if he dies, we're gonna kill you. Like, what?
I love it that your mom and sister are so passionate about a movie.
Yeah, me too. But sometimes you're like, can you please stop squeezing my arm? I know you're scared, I'm too, but I would like circulation back in my limb. But yeah. And like, I forgot if Matt Damon ever did another... No, he did The Last Duel with Ridley Scott. Yeah. But yeah, what would you rate The Martian?
Man, I got no complaints. Was this? Neil deGrasse Tyson even said that, like, majority of this movie, or a big portion of this movie, is scientifically correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's coming from one of the smartest people on Earth. and I love it.
Yeah.
On its downtime, you would think that a movie about a guy surviving in a barren wasteland would be boring or would like drag. They would find witty ways to make a situation funny or engaging, or sometimes like, again, just not boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we got nothing to do on Mars, we would cut to NASA. When we got nothing to do with NASA, we cut to the crew. I don't know. Ridley Scott did such a fucking amazing job with
Yeah,
this.
it's literally a new Castaway for another generation.
Yeah.
I like Castaway. You're like a guy stuck on an island and his only companion is a beach ball. That sounds quite boring. And then you watch the movie, you're like, oh, I am wrong.
Yeah.
I'm completely wrong.
Like, yeah, and then like, for sure, a lot of people have been like, oh, when the first time watching Castaway, they were like, I can survive. And then they kind of up the stakes with, can you survive Mars though? And it's like, maybe. Yeah. But I love this movie. It is one of my favorite ones. And Matt Damon kind of stapled himself as an amazing actor. And I kind of based my personality out of Mark Watney's, character. Because, when shit hits the fan, you can't just look at shit. You gotta fix the fan. You know?
Yeah.
I know that doesn't make sense, but
the spirit of what you're trying to say is there.
Yeah, it's there. It's not great, but it's there. But yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, man. I can't find any faults in this movie. Ridley Scott did an amazing job with this one.
Yeah.
And he did his research. For sure, he got every scientist that he could find to pretty much create, the story. And not just Ridley Scott, the author of the book.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, I'll give this a 10 out of 10. I feel like between Interstellar and Armageddon, there's like a good balance of like Armageddon's too popcorny, Interstellar's too sciencey, and it's like
sciencey avant-garde kind of. While Martian's like that good in between of good popcorn movie and good science movie.
Yeah. So I'll give this a 10 out of 10. I got really no complaints. Like everyone did their job well. Matt Damon certifies himself once again as a really good actor. Like so does the rest of the cast, from Jessica Chastain to Jeff Daniels down to Childish Gambino. Like this cast is amazing and they do all their work pretty well. And like I don't think there'll ever be a sequel to The Martian because that makes no goddamn sense. But it is a perfect standalone movie that you'll turn on once in a while when you want to see something that's, again, as you said, the good balance of like it's not too sciencey, it's not too popcorny, it's just a really good movie that's in between them. But yeah, what's your favorite Ridley Scott movie?
Mine? I'll say The Martian. No, but like
I think folks that's his hint on Blade Runner because he stopped. Never mind. You became an android for a bit. Someone call Harrison Ford quick.
I'm so sorry. I forgot Ridley Scott did Blade Runner. Sorry, in my head it's still like Danny Villeneuve.
You mean Danny Villeneuve?
Villeneuve, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah.
I can't English today. But yeah, Blade Runner is actually my favorite Ridley Scott movie. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. Besides Harrison Ford's face at the end.
I will go with Alien, because that is the opposite end of Blade Runner, where this is more on sci-fi horror. Oh no, he stopped again. Truly is an android. Help! Well, I guess that's the closest. But yeah, if you want to see more of us, well, Jomer's away. If you want to see more of us, oh god. Oh my god. If you want to see more of us, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see your best and funniest moments, Spotify to hear us on the go. Individually, you can find me again, Jobs995 on Twitter. And for Jom, you can find him GEOM_. It is his art account. And until the next lineup, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.